Hello and welcome to One and All once again. So in today's class, we will discuss about the indicators of economic development. So we finished with the concepts of economic growth and economic development, and we also finished with the objectives of economic development. So the next topic is the indicators of economic development. Now, what do you mean by the indicators of economic development? That means on what basis we are identifying the progress or otherwise of a particular economy. See, for example, if you take a student, what is the indicator to know about the brilliance or the intelligence of a particular student? We all know it is the marks, isn't it? The percentage of marks secured by a student in any exam. That is one of the indicators showing the efficiency or the skill or the intelligence of a particular student. But is that enough? Is the only the percentage of marks secured by a student tells everything about the student? It is not the way, isn't it? There are so many other indicators, like for example, what is the communication skills of the student, and what about the sincerity of the students. Isn't there are so many other factors that is going to provide the information regarding a student. But still, we cannot deny the fact that the percentage of marks secured by a student in an exam is one of the most important indicators informing about the smartness of a particular student. In the same way, if we have to find out the progress of economic development of a particular country, we need certain indicators to identify whether the country is progressing or not. Just like this, marks are not the sufficient not one particular indicator is saying the complete information about the progress of the economy. So each and every indicator, they have certain advantages. That means they are informing certain traits of a particular country regarding the progress of a country, but at the same time they are also having certain limitations. So now let us see one by one what are all the various indicators put forth by various economists denoting the indicators of economic development of a country in general. Okay. So first indicator is real national income. This is one of the most important indicators of economic development. Just like a student's marks, real national income is also the uh, main indicator of economic development. So that means what? Higher the real national income, higher real national income, automatically higher the progress or the economic development of a country, or and vice versa, and vice versa. Lower the national income, lower growth rate of national income, lower the progress of economic development of a country. So it's a very simple indicator. I mean, simple to calculate, to find out whether the country is progressing or otherwise. Now, before I proceed with this is not a complete indicator. As I mentioned to you, each and every indicator has its own disadvantages or has its own limitations. So before I proceed with the limitations of this particular indicator, let me explain to you what is the meaning of this real national income. It is not just the national income, this is the real national income. So the meaning of real national income is national income measured in terms of goods and services. National income measured in terms of goods and services, not the money income. It is a real income. Money income is the amount of GNP or the GDP measured in terms of money. But real national income is the what is GNP? The total value of all goods and services produced in a country. So that total production, the volume of output produced in a country, if you multiply or convert it in terms of money, that becomes the national income. Otherwise, it is the national output. So we want the national output, that is the real national income. Or in other words, or national income measured at constant prices. So this is done. This is why we are measuring the national income at constant prices, because this is done to avoid the price fluctuations year after year. The price will not remain stable. So if the price of the general price level in the country keeps on increasing, automatically the national income will also show an increase. So basically, price into quantity, that is the revenue. So if we calculate price of commodity X multiplied by quantity of commodity X, let us assume for the time being X denotes the entire quantity and services, goods and services produced in a particular country. So the quantity of commodity X multiplied by price of commodity X gives the national income. But every year we are calculating the national income, isn't it? So suppose this is it is giving a certain value in the year 2022. Suppose if the price of the commodity, the general price level in the country increases in 2023, then if you multiply with the quantity, maybe the quantity produced in the country might increase, might not increase, or might even decrease. But if the general price level in the country increases, the national income will also show an increase. This is in 2023. So what is the conclusion you will get? The conclusion we will get is, looking at the national income data of 2022 and comparing with the 2023, we might come to the conclusion that the national income of the country has increased. But as it really increased, it is not so. This is happening only because of the rise in price level. So in order to rule out that price fluctuations, we are calculating the most of the time, the statistical department of the country, any country for that matter, they calculate national income at constant prices. That means what? The price of the commodity will remain constant at 2022. Whatever the prices that are prevailing in 2022, for the next couple of years, the same price will be used for measuring the national income. Only the quantity will be the current year, 2022, 2023, 24, 25, like that. But the price of the commodity will remain constant at 2022. Then you will know what is the change that is happening in the quantity of the commodity. We will clearly know whether year after year the output produced in the country is increasing or remaining stagnant or even decreasing. So that is the meaning of national income, real national income, or national income at constant prices. So here we are measuring the national income in terms of goods and services. Anyway, this is the most commonly adopted indicator to know about the progress of a country. So, but there are certain limitations in this indicator. As I mentioned, each and every indicator has got its own limitations, and economists have come forward with different indicators to rectify the mistakes or the defects of the previous indicator. But none of the indicator is flawless. Every indicator is having certain amount of defects or limitation. So let us see what are all the defects or the limitations of this national income indicator. Okay, so the limitations. The first limitations is, I told you, like, in order to avoid the price fluctuations, national income is measured at constant prices. But then is it possible to ignore the price fluctuation? We all know that the price keep on changing, keep on fluctuating. Most of the time, the prices keep on increasing. So if the prices keep on increasing, then automatically the value of money keeps on decreasing. Our standard of living, our living standards keep on decreasing. So it is not possible to ignore the changes in price level. So first limitation is, price variations are inevitable and hence it cannot be ignored. You cannot just say that I'm measuring the national income at constant prices and avoiding the price fluctuation. This is only for the statistical information. But then in the actual practice, day-to-day living of the people, the increase in price affect very much. Okay. So price variations are inevitable and yet hence it cannot be ignored. Okay. That is the first limitation we are finding on from this indicator. And then national income is not saying anything about the population of the country. So we are not knowing anything about the standard of living, or it does not say anything about the per capita income of the country. So this indicator does not indicate about the per capita income. It is totally ignoring the population effect which is having on the country. The population also increases at the same rate, and whatever the increase in national income is totally nullified. So it is not mentioning anything about the per capita income. It is also not mentioning about the social cost, or in other words, what is the meaning of social cost? It is in what way the country is improving the economy, in what way the production is happening in the economy. In other words, to what extent the country is deteriorating the quality of the environment. The other day in the previous class, we discussed about the sustainable development, isn't it? So the country should produce goods and services in such a way, economic development in a country should happen in such a way that the quality of the environment is not being degraded. So if you're that is the social cost. So this indicator is not indicating anything about the decrease in the quality of environment, or in other words, in what way we are polluting the environment. That social cost is not indicated in this indicator. And also, what about the distribution of national income? That is the another flaw of this national income indicator, social cost and about the distribution of national income, whether the national income generated in the country is evenly distributed or unevenly distributed. This indicator is not saying anything about the distribution of national income. It is just mentioning about the rise or the growth rate of the national income. Okay, so these are all the some of the defects pointed out by some of the economists about the national income being one of the main indicators of the progress of a country. So because of these defects, some of the economy, they came up with the next indicator, which is the real per capita income, or GNP per capita. So when I say real, the meaning is the same. Like we are ruling out the price changes, and or we are measuring in terms of goods and services. So here, in order to rectify the defect of not taking into account the growth of population in the country, when the country is using national income as the indicator of measurement, development, so some of the economies suggested the per capita income. So what is the formula for per capita income? Per capita income is the national income of a country divided by total population. So when I say real per capita income, national income will be the constant prices. That is what is called, in take it as the base year price, whatever the national income, but population will be in the terms of current year. Okay, so this is where we are calculating the real per capita income or the progress of GNP per capita in the country. So actually, this measure is supposed to indicate the standard of living of a country. So this indicator rectifying the mistake of national income by taking into account the population of a country also. But even this method, this indicator is also not a complete indicator. There are also certain limitations in real per capita income also. So what are all the limitations in this indicator? So the first limitation is So even though the per capita income increases, we say per capita income is a indicates the standard of living of a country. But still this indicator does not indicate anything about the living standards of, or let me put it another way, the basic needs. Living standards or the basic needs of the majority of the masses of a country. What is the reason? This real per capita income is only an average. The reason is, let me write it here. This is because per capita income is only a average measure. So the average income earned by the citizen of a country, when you divide total national income divided by total population, you are getting the average income of a country, of the average income of the citizen of a country. So it is not the individual income, it is only the average income. So that average might be more, but that doesn't mean that the majority of the masses in the country or each and every poorer person in the country is able to satisfy his basic needs. Okay, so that information is not provided by the real per capita income. And there is another difficulty regarding the international comparison. See, the World Bank classified the countries of the world as developed countries, underdeveloped countries, high income countries, low income countries, middle income countries, etc. So based on the per capita income of each and every country. But then still this international comparison is not possible because we all know that each and every country is having different currencies, and then the exchange rate of each and every countries or the exchange rate of different currencies keep on fluctuating, or they are all not the same. The exchange rate of dollar is one thing, the exchange rate of pound sterling is another thing, isn't it? So each and every country's exchange rates keep on differing. So in that, because of that reason, it is not easy to make international comparisons. So international comparisons are difficult due to differences in the exchange rates of different different currencies. Okay, so now this is the limitation pointed out against the per capita GNP. Then because of this limitation, again the economists came up with the next indicator, that is something welfare. So welfare, this indicator is based on increase in the consumption of goods and services. Increase in the consumption of goods and services by the people. So if the people are able to consume more amount of purchase and consume more amount of goods and services, then the economy suggested that this is an indicator of welfare of that particular country. Consumption of goods and services. So as I mentioned, more the goods, services consumed by the people, more the welfare of a particular country. Okay, but still, again, as usual, the later economists, some of the economists, they pointed out the limitations of this indicator also. The first limitation is each and every individual, the taste and preferences, it is not the same. So whatever the consumption of goods and services of one particular individual need not be the same for the another individual also. So you cannot standardize. These are all the basic needs. These are all the goods and services. If these goods and services are consumed by all the people in the country, and if the quantity of these goods and services keep on increasing, the consumption of the quantity of these goods and services keep on increasing, then the welfare of the people of the country is also increasing. Because when you take a basket, you put some goods and services in that, and then you just give that basket to each and every citizen of a country and tell them that you keep on, if this quantity keeps on increasing, your welfare is increased. It is not like that. Each and every one of us have got different consumption baskets. Whatever the goods and services I put in my consumption basket is not the same what you put in your consumption basket. So you cannot generalize that. You identify certain commodities and services. If those quantities keep on increasing, the welfare of the people will also increase. To put it very simply, the consumption basket of each and every individual is different. So because the pattern of consumption pattern of each and every individual is different. To put it in words, the consumption basket of each individual is different. When I say consumption basket, in one particular basket, what are all the commodities you would like to consume or services you would like to avail? So it is not the same for each and every person. So it is not correct to say this is the consumption basket, or you are giving the same weightage to all the goods and services consumed by all the people in the country. As per this index, one certain goods and services are identified and some weightage is given, and if people are consuming those goods and services in increasing quantities, then the welfare of the people is improved. But then, as I mentioned, everybody would not like to consume the same goods and services. Okay. And again, another limitation, the same limitation like the previous indicators, like it ignores the, it is not taking into account, it ignores the social costs, that is the environmental quality, and also the distribution of national income. So same defects pointed out in the previous indicator. So it is applicable to this indicator also. Okay. So this is the next problem with the welfare. So the next indicator also having the problem. So moving on to the another indicator, that is social indicators. So social indicators, some of the economists, instead of saying bluntly as welfare, so you just mention what are all the basic needs of the human being. So if those basic needs of the human beings are, I mean, they were able to, majority of the sections of the population are able to get these basic needs, then automatically it is one of the indicators of the progress of the particular country. So in this way, they picked up certain basic needs. According to their opinion, what are all the basic need? Okay. And how it has to be to indicate the progress of the country. So first basic need is, what they have taken is health. So in the health, there are so many things in health, but they have taken only the, as far as health is concerned, they have taken into consideration to indicate only the life expectancy at birth. So the life expectancy at birth is nothing but what is the average lifespan of the citizen of a country. So in India, maybe it is 65, 67 years. And in Russia, maybe it is some more. USA, it might be 70, 75 years. So like that, each and every country, they have calculated the what is the average lifespan of the citizen of the country. So that is the meaning of life expectancy of the birth. So only that indicator is taken into consideration in health. Okay. So if the life expectancy is more, So if the average lifespan of this citizen of the country is more, automatically the health standards in the country are more. That is the conclusion these people have thought. Then the second indicator is education. These are all some of the basic needs of the human beings. So in education, what they have taken into consideration is literacy, mainly the, so in the literacy, they have not taken all levels of education. Okay, they have taken only into consideration the primary school enrollment as percent of population, meaning out of the total population in the country, how much percentage of the population have completed at least the primary education level. Okay, so if more percentage of the population are completed at least the primary level, see, at least the primary level, if the majority of the population is completed, they won't come under the category of illiterates. If you don't even complete that primary level education, you are categorized as illiterates. So if the majority of the percentage of the population in the country have not even enrolled themselves, admitted themselves, have not even studied up to the primary level, then they are considered as illiterates. Okay, so based on this, you can know the illiteracy rate in the country. So that is the, so as I mentioned, they are not taking into account all the other levels of any other level of education, only the primary school level. So more the percentage of population completed their primary level, then the country is said to be literate, or that education standards are met. Then the next one is the food. So food is based on that. What is the calorie intake of the calorie intake per head? So based on the nutritional standards, a person is expected to consume a certain amount of calories per day. So if a person is able to, if an individual is able to consume that much amount of calories, then that food requirements are met in the country. So if the majority of the population in the country are able to consume that minimum intake of calories, then automatically they are having that basic necessity of food. Then the next indicator is, of course, after food, water supply. So water supply, here the indicator is something, the infant mortality and percentage of population with access to potable water. So this is, everybody should have the proper access to drinking water. Okay, they should not have any difficulty in getting the drinking water. That is the second latter part. Now, what is the meaning of infant mortality? Infant mortality means death. Infant, you know. So infant mortality is number of children, number of infants dying per thousand infants, 1,000 babies born in a country before reaching the age of 1 year. So let me write it. Infant mortality rate, IMR, is the number of babies dying per 1,000 babies born before reaching 1 year of age. So why we are taking this infant mortality? What is the connection between water supply and infant mortality? Because one of the main causes, there are so many other causes. One of the main causes for the death of infants is the no accessibility to proper drinking water. Okay, so if the drinking water supply is not there, then more number of infants are bound to die. So because of that reason, they have taken the infant mortality rate also into consideration. And as I mentioned, how much percentage of the population is having the accessibility to proper drinking water. That is the next indicator. And then the next one is the sanitation. So sanitation, the same parameter is used, that is infant mortality and percentage of population with access to sanitation. So if there is no proper sanitation facilities, automatically there will be unhygienic conditions, more number of infants will die. Okay, so that is another indicator. And the last one is the housing. So as far as housing is concerned, they have not come up with any parameter. What should be the nature of housing? What should be the standards of housing, etc. But then they should have at least a proper dwelling should be there. So these are all considered as the basic needs by some of the economists. But then here also there are limitations. So you yourself can identify only the life expectancy is not the health, defining the health standard. Only the primary enrollment, education level enrollment is not defining the educational attainment of a country. So some of the economists, they opine that it is this indicator, these parameters are incomplete. So whatever the indicator they are used is not complete. So that is the problem found with basic needs differs from one person to another person, one country to another country. You cannot put only this is the basic need, isn't it? So economies are not, I mean, there is no coincidence, or the economies are not agreeing with these are all the parameters that have to be considered as the basic need. Okay, so again this one also met with certain limitations. And then the next one is the physical quality of life index. So physical quality of life index, PQLI. This is a non-income indicator. So when you are not taking into account the national income or the per capita income, that is the economic indicator or the indicator of income. If you are not taking into account any of those, then it comes under the category of non-income indicator. So this indicator consists of three indexes. One is the life expectancy. I already mentioned you what is the meaning of life expectancy and infant mortality rate. And the third one is the basic literacy. So again, primary level. So this indicator is introduced by an economist named M.D. Morris in 1979, and he himself pointed out that this indicator is incomplete. So he himself pointed out that this is not completely showing the development of a country. Okay, so still there are some more indicators which I will continue in my next class. So as I mentioned, none of the indicators are complete. So but each and every indicator is giving some kind of information. Okay, so next class I will continue with the remaining indicators. So if you find this video useful, please like, share and subscribe. If you have any doubts, please mention in the comment box. Okay, so until my next class, take care. Bye bye.